Hey YouTube, James here. So now that I have revealed my favorite films from 2011, time to show my top 10 least favorite films. Now some of these movies to me aren't horrid, some I probably will watch one or more two times in my life. These are just the movies that either disappointed me or that I didn't enjoy for whatever reason. So if there are movies here that you like, power to you, but personally I didn't find them all that great. Keep in mind that I didn't see every movie this year, and I know there are movies that should be on this list, but I knew they'd be bad, so I didn't even bother seeing them. So let's begin. Runner-up, Sucker Punch. I put this only as a runner-up because it is essentially my guilty pleasure of 2011. I recognize the faults and the issues with it, but I still find it extremely entertaining and could possibly rewatch it over and over again. While the characters and story aren't quite deep, the action scenes are exciting, and I'd be lying if I said they weren't fun. So yeah, it's a runner-up because I couldn't justify officially putting it on either the most favorite or least favorite list.
If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Number 10. Green Lantern. Now if I could have two guilty pleasures from this year, this would be my second pick. Again, not a great film, it did leave much to be desired, but it certainly is more entertaining than some of the other films on this list. I take it for what it is, a cheesy comic book movie. Could it be better? Absolutely. But I'll take what I can get, and what I got at least entertained me.
Those who worship evil's might, beware my power. Green Lantern's light!
Number 9. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. This film started off with an intense bang and slowly went downhill from there. This was supposed to be an extremely frightening movie and had its creepy moments up until they revealed the creatures about halfway through the movie. And once I saw the creatures, I couldn't take them as seriously as I did in the first half. So why is it only at number 9? Well, despite the reveal halfway through and a pretty sour ending, the first half and the climax saved this from being a total disappointment. Number 8. The Hangover Part 2. Now this was actually going to be much higher on the list, but after looking at some of the other movies I didn't enjoy, I didn't feel that my biggest problem justified a higher rating. So what was the big problem I had with this film? Well, it was an exact replica of the first film. And usually that doesn't bother me, but the first film was absolutely hilarious and gained such a popularity that they felt a sequel was necessary. And I felt insulted when the best they could do was just reshoot the first film with raunchier events. And in my opinion, raunchier events don't make a movie funnier. It kinda makes it uncomfortable.
Oh my word! What is going on?
Number 7. Contagion. Looking back on my review for this movie, I realized I rated it 8 out of 10. And thinking back on the movie, that was way too high for this. Sure, it's got a great cast, but their characters don't get enough development. And there were a few intense scenes, but if there was more character development, they would have made a better impact. And the biggest problem was the movie is extremely slow, and at times, even boring. Not an absolute snore fest, but boring enough to make me wonder, when will it end? Number 6. Hall Pass. Now Hall Pass and the next movie on this list, I had feelings they wouldn't be great. Since they're on this list, seems like I was right. So what was wrong with Hall Pass? Well, I could say that it was cliched, which it was, and I knew it would be, but honestly I didn't know how it would play out until about halfway through. And it wasn't all that funny. It had a few scenes, but not enough to carry the movie's entertainment value. And as bad as this one was, it doesn't compare to the next one.
You can't get any bigger! Look at this!
Number 5. Just Go With It. This movie suffers from the same flaws as Hall Pass, just to a different degree. It was cliched, but at least with Hall Pass it took me until halfway through to figure out the path. I knew how this one would end from the trailer. This movie wasn't funny. Hall Pass had one or two decent scenes. This one didn't have any. Everything was forced. Everything had been done before. This was an hour and 40 minutes building up to an ending we could all see coming with no enjoyment in it.
Oh! Someone put his pee-pee on my face!
He put his face on my pee-pee!
Danny!
Just go with it.
Number 4, 30 minutes or less. Now this film is probably the biggest disappointment of 2011 for me. Directed by the same director who brought us Zombieland and starring Jesse Eisenberg, I thought this could be a great combo. But throw in Danny McBride and a disjointed plot and we have a combo breaker. I really don't like Danny McBride. I find him much better in a side role where he doesn't get much screen time. I will say though, the movie had a bit of humor that worked, but still not enough to save it from being disappointing.
It's a breeze.
Run into a bank with a bomb and take all the money and then leave and then go back to work.
Don't make a big deal out of it, all right?
Number 3, Priest. Do I really need to say anything about this film? The same team who brought us Legion doing another religious action movie, which just saying sounds completely absurd. So yeah, I didn't have any hopes for this one. So in a sense, I wasn't disappointed. But that doesn't mean it wasn't terrible either. The acting was bland, the story was absurd, and the vampires looked nothing like vampires. Seriously, who greenlit this? Number 2, Bridesmaids. I'm probably offending a lot of people by saying this, but I did not get any enjoyment out of Bridesmaids. I know that a lot of people like this movie, but I for one think it's completely overrated. I didn't find it funny. I thought the main character was very whiny. I thought some of the jokes went on far too long, which is worse when they're not funny to begin with. And I felt the movie itself was about half an hour too long. So I'm sorry to those who love this movie, and if you do, good for you, keep loving it. But I personally did not get it. But as bad as it was, it cannot contend against the final film on this list.
I'm dead serious. Will you marry me? Yes.
And my number 1 least favorite film of 2011 is Your Highness. I absolutely hated this movie. Another movie I was looking forward to and rated it a little too high in my review. When I saw the Red Band trailer, I thought that this movie would be like a medieval Pineapple Express. I was so wrong. Now the plot is actually not that bad, and James Franco and Natalie Portman do pretty good jobs. What I hated about this movie was its brand of humor and, once again, Danny McBride. And you could say, oh, well, if you hate him, why isn't 30 minutes or less at number 2? Well, in 30 minutes, McBride was the villain. You're not supposed to like him. In this, he's the freaking hero. He's this lazy, arrogant, pompous ass who we, the audience, are supposed to relate to and root for. And the humor is disgusting. Toilet humor and dick jokes are not funny. And it saddens me that some people do find it funny.
Your Highness.
So those are my least favorite films of 2011. What were your least favorite films? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.